Alright, yo, what's going on, all my gamers, all my Genshin gamers? So this topic has actually been I've been very much following this topic a lot. I was gonna say it's important to me. It's just very interesting to me. I'll say it's more interesting than important, you know. These VAs have been going off their rocker lately, and, you know, hey, they're doing it in my game, chat. Who said that they're allowed to do this in my game, chat? You know, the face of Genshin Impact, that's me, the kid. I'm unsigned, hyped. I'm not letting this slide because I want to see my game get better. Now, sorry, I just love saying that. I'm so sorry. I love going off the wall like that. It's really fun. But, chat, let's talk about this. The VA situation is now getting mocked by the CN community. You know, CN usually stays out of our drama because they're just like, whatever, who cares? You know, a lot of people also aren't covering this, which I don't blame them. This is more of a Genshin-sided drama, and, you know, a lot of people kind of started moving away from Genshin. Me, because I really like this subject, I'm still on it, you know. I'm not letting them slide that easily, chat. You know, they have to get through me, and I ain't moving an inch. Let's go.
Welcome back, guys. Hope you've been having a
I really want to know what
weekend.
CN feels about this, because CN usually doesn't care.
Regarding the ongoing situation with the SAG-AFTRA voice actors and HoYoverse, with many people across the internet and the Genshin Impact community especially calling out the SAG-AFTRA voice actors.
Oh yeah.
Essentially saying that the SAG-AFTRA VAs are being deceptive and manipulative, are basically gaslighting people about the truth of their strike. As anyone who looks into the situation can easily see that it's much more than the whole AI claims that the SAG-AFTRA VAs are trying to make. The finer details making it seem like SAG-AFTRA, the union.
Dude, when their contract leaked, or not even leaked, but I think you can find their contract online, and I don't know if it's on their website, but you can find their contract. Dude, people went through it like a fine-tooth comb, finding everything and everything, chat. You know, we've been reading for the past few patches. You think reading a contract is gonna be any different? Hell no, chat, we're reading all of it.
Is really making some kind of power play, trying to essentially monopolize the industry, as people put it. This, of course, would come with many negative repercussions for non-union voice actors, despite the damage control that a number of people from the union have been trying to make, which, as we discussed yesterday, has not been going well for them at all.
The Furino thumbnail.
People are also pointing out double standards and
I've always loved Hero's thumbnails. They're really funny.
For example, conveniently breaking their own Global 1 rule, in which it seems like these union VAs never should have been working on HoYoverse games to begin with. Despite that, many of them are now essentially trying to control who HoYoverse can even work with. Then there's all the double.
That's also the thing that I thought was really funny, is that this was never a union gig, right? This was just, and man, they got in there lucky too, because this game is kind of like a generational run of, you know, work and stuff, especially if you're someone like Paimon, who is essentially never had a break and will constantly have work for probably the next 2 to 3 years, up until, I assume, Teyvat ends, because Teyvat is just the first story of Genshin Impact. They've said that and teased that a few times. So it's like, once they go to the next region, hopefully we leave Paimon behind. I don't want to have nothing to do with them no more.
Standards with how some of them claim
that would be great. We just get rid of Paimon,
to harass the guy, but turning a blind eye to some of the people in their very own clique who are essentially doing the same thing. The point being that all of this and plenty of stuff I haven't mentioned in this brief introduction is causing many people across the internet to have a very rapidly growing distaste towards these SAG-AFTRA union voice actors. But yeah, of course, there's more details than all that. Hopefully you've been keeping up with the news, whether that's from the videos that I've been making here on the channel or elsewhere on the internet.
I've been keeping up with it a lot. You know, I've been watching these videos and sometimes like checking on Twitter and stuff like that, because people on Twitter are like coming after them still, bro. They're getting like actual passages from their contracts and replying to them and be like, yo, explain this and stuff like that, and they don't usually respond, so that's always funny. I actually have a video. Oh god, should I upload that video, or you know what, we'll wait for it, because he also covers the video of Karina. You know, what do you call it, Karina was crashing out, so we'll probably wait for that to put that one out.
And so thanks for your patience. On to the updates. We'll start with this tag I got from Serious Lupin that says, "Hi HeroHei, saw your latest video about the VA drama. Could you also talk about this?" Linking to a Reddit post and saying pretty much every post talking bad about the VA union in the official Genshin Reddit is being mass reported. First of all, thank you for the tag. And yeah, we'll definitely talk about that in this video, as well as a number of other things, including how the CN community is responding to the voice actors, which the title and or thumbnail probably already spoil, but yeah, the CN community is mocking these union voice actors. But yeah, starting with this censorship stuff, what may be the latest attempts at damage control. Although before we read this, let me just mention, I don't believe there's conclusive evidence to what's going on here for sure, so ultimately make up your own conclusions on this. But let's take a look. We can see this post from 9 hours ago, reading, threads being mass reported. Funny enough, it looks like something did happen here too, as the
Thread
post
being
is
mass
now
reported
awaiting
as the thread was
moderator
mass
approval.
reported. Damn it.
EOP elaborating on this in the comments, saying, the post where this user pointed out the issue, they've also made a list of posts being mass reported. Edit another list with more posts being mass reported.
I think they've lessened the mass reporting because I believe, or because when I came on to check the ongoing situation, I went on Reddit, but it was like 4 or 5 in the morning, so the thread was still up. Whether it was still up now, I don't know. Actually, let's go check that right now. So as you can see, there are still posts on this. Oh, we could talk about this one after that. There's still posts about this going on. Nathan. So there are a lot of posts on here talking about this. When in doubt, treat others how you'd want to be treated from an age. That's a pretty good thing to talk about. So a lot of these posts are still up, right? And that's pretty good because that was the actual Genshin Impact subreddit, by the way. It has like millions of followers. So it is good to see that they're leaving this up, and the mass reporting is either not working or they're just like don't care.
Edit 2 in case the content of my post also gets deleted. Here's what it said. As noticed by user living a lost life in a recent post, any threads related to the strike, the questionable behavior of some VAs, SAG-AFTRA, and even posts made by VAs who came here to clarify things, quote unquote, are being mass reported by some people. Is there anything the mods can do? Actually, is there a way to contact them? Because I find it crazy that we're being silenced in a place meant for discussing stuff. We're now finally getting some answers on what's been happening these last 6 months or so, and it seems some people aren't happy about that. Edit 3. 20 posts all addressing the VA situation have been nuked so far. It's a very odd situation because what's happening is these posts are having the content removed and having this message that we saw earlier being put on there, that being
Kaylee right side of history. Mills, that's funny. Actors are attacking Auroron's VA on Blue Sky. Dude, shout out to Auroron's VA. You know what I'm saying? Auroron's VA came in like the Chad he is, and he laid his nuts on the table, and he said, you know what? I'm going to congratulate him on his role. I'm going to support him. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Fuck the rest of you. And I say, shout out to him, dude. Big shout out to Auroron's VA. He's now one of my new favorite VAs after that.
Approval.
I like
Auroron. Some of the top posts
silly
calling out VAs are still up there, so I'm really not sure what's going on. Perhaps there was also a mass reporting attempt.
I think I've actually uninstalled the English, but it's not because of this. I did it a long time ago because it was like 20 gigabytes. It was like 10 gigabytes, and I needed the storage because these updates are kind of getting bigger and bigger, so I had to delete it.
Those two, and they just didn't succeed. Like I said earlier, come to your own conclusions.
Feel so bad for Kenich's VA.
There's also a bunch of people coincidentally showing up to chime in on the topic in favor of SAG that haven't been on the sub before. For example, this fish person, no activity in Genshin subs in a very long time, but suddenly since the last 2 days, 100 plus comments defending SAG and the strike. Checking out that person's profile, we can see it reads, plural trans woman. There are posts in here from you.
Does it mean plural? Are you more than one person? Is that duplicate?
Years ago, I would heavily disagree with now. I'll clean them out soon. I just don't use Reddit a lot. Yeah, that's funny. Says they don't use Reddit a lot, but now apparently has 100 plus posts from the last few days defending corruption. And indeed, I'm not going to go through all this. We'll literally scroll for just like 5 seconds, but you can see their defense posts.
What's the time? What's the time on that? 7 hours ago, 7 hours ago, 7 hours ago.
On and on.
7 hours ago, 7 hours ago. Goodness.
But yeah, enough of that. I think we get the point. That being how the Genshin community is providing additional evidence that there is potentially a mass reporting attempt going on to censor and bring down posts that are critical of the Union VAs and the Union itself, as well as an influx of people flooding over there to also attempt to defend the Union.
I wonder, chat, here's a question that I have. Who has actually just stopped having English dub in all their games in general? Because me specifically, I don't even have Marvel Rivals in English, so a lot of the English voice lines I've never actually heard. I had to look them up because my game is in Japanese. I've had it since the day one. So if people are like, do you speak Japanese? No, I don't. But do you know how I will tell you which character is ulting because I played it that much.
And now I've repeatedly mentioned for you to please form your own conclusion on that stuff and consider letting me know what you think about it all in the comments. Moving on to the next.
I think they probably lighten up on censoring, I believe. It seems like it at the very least.
Let's take a look at the Chinese community's response to
let me know.
with the preface that
shout to China.
These comments from the CN
They've been
community
very
came
nice
from
to
a
me
few
on
days ago, so at the
Xiaohongshu.
very start of this whole situation. In other words, things have also gotten a lot worse since then, so you can imagine how these sort of comments would probably be mocking the VAs even harder if we had the more recent ones. But still, let's take a look. This should be amusing. In a set of messages from Billy about a video
on
going over
Billy,
this
huh?
current situation, but once again from a few days ago, with comments collected and posted by the user Boijing, so thank you for collecting those comments. And so the first part of this seems to be the CN users responding specifically to the statement issued by John Patnoid, that being the first VA for Kenichi, who got replaced by Jacob Takanashi.
Right.
Having all this to say about John Patnoid's statement. You view the character you voiced, Kenichi, as your own, but you didn't learn any of his good qualities. This is the price of the Turnfire.
That's true, bro. You know, they're all it's really funny hearing Paimon crash out too, and just hearing it in Paimon's voice is like, that's probably not something Paimon would say. That's kind of funny.
Exactly on point. And Kenichi is Kenichi.
I should
not
get on
anyone
Billy.
else. Next set saying, this is so pathetic. Saying, quote unquote, my character. Is just ridiculous. This is the funniest /
You know what's really funny too? It would have been your character if you just showed up. Like, Kenichi has been pretty. Actually, Kenichi has been the least represented character, I believe. If I had to think about it, Kenichi, yeah, because a lot of it had revolved around. Because Kenichi is always out scouting, right? So Kenichi has not really been a lot in the story. He's played big roles, of course, don't get me wrong, but I feel like depending on all the other characters, Kenichi has probably been the least, especially towards the end. It's mostly been Malvika.
Ridiculous part of the tweet. I've saw people said that non-CN VAs, especially EN VAs, love to tie themselves to the characters. They use the players love the characters to promote themselves, even saying I/me when talking about their characters. It's ridiculous.
I hate that. I know Karina did that shit too. That is annoying, bro. Stop. Like I said, if the new VA gets signed to Genshin Impact, they need to put a clause in there that you can't be on Twitter. I don't want to see you tweeting. I don't want to hear you pushing nothing. You sit down and you shut the fuck up.
Sarcasm. A success. The ENVAs have successfully guarded their mission of protecting their human jobs from AI. Hoyo didn't use AI, they just changed the VA. Very reasonable. And so this next set of messages seems to be the CN users responding specifically to the reactions from other VAs who are harassing Jacob Takanashi. The ex-VAs get replaced and won't feed their voice to AI. The new VA gets a job. The players get the complete gaming experience. Everyone gets what they want. I don't get what the community is complaining about. The union is leading this. They're going to stir things up when they don't get what they want. But this time, they're not going to get it no matter how much noise they make.
That's really funny, too, because they're like, oh, we shouldn't be replaced by AI. AI should not replace us. We want to be, we want to have jobs as long as we, forever, blah, blah, and not be replaced by AI. Bro, you're not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by the next person that wants to, have that role. You know what I'm saying? And they can see, people can't actually see how big of a game this is. It's not as big as it used to be, but it's still being propped up by the big poof of 2020. So even then, that you're going to be in front of a huge audience. Why would you not want to voice this character, right? So that next VA coming up, it's not the AI that's going to replace you. It's that next person who's hungry, who wants to make a name for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, these VAs are like worried about the wrong thing. Maybe you should have showed up for work. I don't know.
It's those VAs again? Wow.
Yeah,
do they
it's
think
them.
we play the game for a specific VA? Even if it is for the VA.
To be fair, I do it for Sino. Or for Sayu.
JPVAs.
I love Sayu.
JPVAs aren't as bold and won't lash out to their employer. This can appear with JPVAs. I got Kenichi because of his JPVA. This is actually a pretty good point.
I do look at that, but I only look at it for like the Japanese VAs. A lot of these VAs, especially for Wuthering Waves, are kind of unknown. They were in Arknights when I checked. Like, a lot of the the chapter 1 characters for Wuthering Waves, they were mostly in Arknights, so I didn't really know a lot of those English actors. And to be fair, they didn't really do a good job in 1.0, but they really did come into their own as someone who, even right now, Rover, I played male Rover. I've never heard him before. He's done a great job in 2.2, and he has a lot of lines. Like, these actors are, I don't know any of these actors, but I am hearing them, and I'm becoming a fan. And now when I hear them in other things, like when I think it was Yomizuki Mizuki with female rover. I was like, oh, it's female rover. You know, it's kind of cool to see.
If some people really do pull for characters, wish for characters because of specific VAs that they like, wouldn't the inverse also be true? That being, if people
shout out to the corn, dude. I'll play anything that has Todd Habercorn in it.
Don't like the VA, they may actually not even want that character.
I would say Bryce Papenbrook, but that would be way too much.
Saying that the ENVAs who are acting all crazy should get recast. And if HeroHei thinks that their sales are also getting potentially hurt by these VAs, then it sure will be interesting to see where things go from there.
Dude, this is something that I want to say. I don't know if I said it in the last video. Dude, you don't want HeroHeiverse to step in. If HeroHeiverse steps in and has to mediate, you're all fired. You're all you guys should really, really get this under control, because if HeroHeiverse steps in, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? They've probably fired people for less.
This one calling out Kareem Vodiger directly, saying, swap out Paimon's English VA, please, so I can comfortably switch to EN dub. If I were
dude. Listen to Paimon in Chinese, bro. It's so smooth. It is comforting. It is nice. Man, I think they should have had they should have recasted it a long time ago.
I wouldn't wait any longer and recast too. For example, if you were building a house and got a construction team to build the house, but they went on a strike for some reason and refused to keep building, you're in a hurry to move in, but you decided to wait out of politeness. But 6 months later, they still haven't done anything. Any normal person would change a construction team to build their house. I
think that's the worst part too. You know, I have, you know, I'm going to get this out there because this is a personal grievance of mine. I have stood up for these voice actors for the longest time, chat. You guys remember in a lot of my older reviews of the Genshin Impact story, I have always just let them slide. And especially from Honkai Star Rail, I was like, chat, you know, just let them slide on this one and blah, blah, blah. You know, chat was not chat, but, you know, some commenters were just being like, you know, I'm not letting them slide. I want this. I just switched it. I'm not going to do blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? That's totally fine. I'm just asking to be patient with them. And then they do this. Imagine my reaction to these people that I have been defending, and all they do is attack the community, bro. Imagine. And you wonder why I'm very passionate about this.
A great analogy.
Yeah, right, dude. Replace them all. I'm over it.
For 6 months. But if they're still not working after so long, then what's the point of keeping them? You guys can't fire me. I need this job, but I just don't want to work yet. Is this what they mean?
I think so, yeah.
I think this is ridiculous. But this strange situation does feel normal when it's within their community. Yep, that's what they mean.
Kinda, yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the situation. If you don't do the job, there's plenty of people that will do it. And within Hoyo's popularity, the people don't view you based on how famous you are. Even if they're a beginner, players will still play the game. Because it's HeroHeiverse.
That's what I'm saying.
I really wish they would recast Paimon. Oh, another one. Even if they don't redo the current lines and just change the future ones would be fine. Paimon's English voice is too high-pitched. She sounds more like those little elves from a small child. Every time I use EN dub and listen to her, I feel like my head is exploding. There's probably technical issues. One is that she just have way too many lines to redo everything. And second, they can't find a suitable replacement quickly.
That's also one thing. The amount of lines that Paimon has is actually insane. So they probably can't replace her at this point. Paimon is probably locked in. And, you know, that's probably kind of sucks because it's like, at this point, it's probably easier to wait out the 3 years, the 2 to 3 years until Teyvat is done and just hope that, you know, the next chapter doesn't have Paimon. Like, I wonder if they're going to, you know, put in a character that replaces Paimon in Genshin 2. If they do a Genshin 2, because the story is almost over.
Finally, this exchange.
I assume they will because they did it with Honkai Impact 3rd.
Crazy. That's what American education does to you. All right. Well, that was amusing. Let me know what you guys think about those comments in the comments here.
That was great, dude.
And now moving on to what I think is probably the last update we'll have in this video. And it actually involves Jacob Takanashi once again himself. So check this out. I've got a tab open from this post from 2 hours ago titled, "Wow, I'm sure the VS will be nice to him now."
Uh-oh.
The thing is, that post is actually 13 hours old. That's just an old tab that I still have open.
Oh, okay.
And we go to the current one from 13 hours ago. You can see this also got hit with that post is awaiting moderator approval thing that we discussed earlier in the video. Quite odd, isn't it? But what's this all about? Well, when we return to the old tab I have open, we can actually see the post still. And we got Jacob Takanashi here saying, Hey, I know tensions are high, but don't frickin' do this. If you send death threats to anyone on my behalf, too far, man, too far. Sorry you had this happen to you, Kiba. Responding to a tweet from Kiba Walker, who presumably is a voice actress, I guess. And she says, someone named Kokira Kira thought this was the appropriate thing to send me this afternoon. We could see an email here. It says, do us all a favor and end your life. It would really help the VA industry if you and everyone who condemns Jacob taking over Kinich just ended yourselves all at once. Some people...
Okay. Just replace him. Let's be adult about this. I know I'm flying off the handle and I'm saying this and that. By the way, chat, don't tweet at them. Just leave them alone. Just leave it to here in this video. We're gonna be mocking them, all this. You know, don't worry. We're still gonna be making more videos on this, but let's not do stuff like this. I know you guys. Hey, anyone who watches this video, and if you're a fan of mine, you watch my videos and stuff like that. I know you guys are great. You guys are smart. You guys know not to do this. So I don't even worry. I don't even worry, chat. I don't gotta worry about
but
you guys.
focusing on what the OP says. Wow, I'm sure the VAs would be nice to him now. We can see some more screenshots that they include. The next one being Little Kribo, who responds to Jacob Takanashi, saying, with respect, tensions would decrease significantly if you recognized and spoke publicly on the fact that voice actors aren't quote-unquote bullying you. If you truly didn't know about the strike, say so. If you did, say so. But voice actors...
Oh my god, dude. I hate when it's someone I love coming out like this. Chat, I have been a fan of Lil Karibo for probably a decade because Yu-Gi-Oh! The bridge has been one of the things that I used to quote all the time. Tell me! I love it, and I love the way he does Yami Yugi. The way he wrote Seto Kaiba was great, but man, annoying.
Are going to keep being attacked until then. The responses are not having this stuff.
Why is everyone trying to hit on me?
Response reads, I hope Jacob continues to take the high road with his tweets and not give in to the urge to go on a tirade against people harassing him. At some point, bullies who know the people they are bullying are not responding the way they want will soon give up. Yeah. I'm also worried that he will decide to step down as Kenichi's VA because of the constant bullying. Hopefully he doesn't, but I wouldn't blame him. But no one wins this mess. The VAs have made things so much harder for themselves. Yeah. Hope not. Stepping down now will make the rest of them think they can cyberbully anyone else.
I don't think he should step down, and I don't think he will. I hope he doesn't. At this point, just let him screech and cry on Twitter. Just if anything, just delete Twitter off your phone. It'll make it so much easier.
Tries to replace a VA.
Don't let these
Funny
idiots
thing
just
is, he didn't
bully
even
you
try
off
to replace.
the roll.
He got a job offer and took it. Another exchange reading, did not have Little Karibo joining in on my expectations.
Me either,
I think he would keep up with it, but not speak on it. Little Karibo has been going in on the new Kenichi and Oren's VA on Blue Sky, accusing them of lying. I'm glad Auroran's VA took a break from Twitter. Auroran's VA doesn't even belong in any drama. This man reached out to Jacob behind the scenes before engaging in any talks. The thing any professional should have done. Someone with that much class should definitely stay off Twitter. But I've taken time to look through Martin's involvement. Seems everyone's just playing devil's advocate and not caring about Jacob's side of things, the way everyone automatically sides with the union mob because they're already familiar with their striking history. Holy dragged out drama. Making these threats public isn't fixing either. Some PR training would have went a long way in this one.
Yeah, for
real.
If
you didn't know, say so. I didn't know. Wow, dude, you're a liar. Jacob did a good thing making it clear he doesn't condone violence. He only ever needs to do this once. Best thing you can do from now on is not reply to any of these moral policing losers.
Yeah, for real.
And this exchange reading, y'all need to tell your fans to stop attacking us. Y'all sent your fans to attack him. Cry and seethe. Ironically, he has no fans.
Jack.
Respectfully and kindly. Someone can clock me if I'm wrong. But this either is his first VA role or his most notable one.
It's his first. It's one of his first, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We've known him for all of
I
like 4 days.
I ended up looking it up myself. He has like one or two other roles.
Turning against them. Similarly to another comment we read, we'll take a look at this one that reads, Auroran VA. I talked to the VA, Jacob Takanashi, and he said he didn't know. Little Karibo. I don't believe he didn't know. Also Little Karibo. If you knew, say so. LMAO.
Oh my god, dude!
I face to demand him to make a statement for fans to follow
I hate that it's Little Karibo, bro. Why is he like this?
VAs, but the fact they have the face to act like they're in a position to still demand things from him to save themselves is pathetic. While it was wrong, the only reason they are getting attacked is because they attacked him, and yet they still have no shame. Some VAs publicly shaming him by saying he's a terrible person, telling him to enjoy Genshin because he will never get another role. Believe that referencing the Kirby tweets.
Yeah.
Or not tweets, but, you know, Blue Sky posts or whatever. Continuing, saying how disgusting his actions are and talking about how evil he is for stealing the role of someone who's refused to come to work for half a year when he doesn't even know what's going on. Little Karibo says, "You need to recognize and tell your fans we aren't bullying you. Also, you're either lying to Nathan or you're both in on it together." So yeah, it looks like the SAG after VAs and their defenders are really only making things worse. Now let's go back to Twitter. In a second, we've got to take a look at some more things going on with Jacob Takanashi. But on the topic of death threats, check out this death threat thingy I got from like 8 hours ago because it's hilarious. This guy sounds like such a loser.
Please.
There was like a Ruby thread going around, and out of nowhere, this guy brings me up saying, "I blame the spiteful redacted known as HeroHei." Someone else, Tiger
What the hell did
Monsoon,
this happen?
and says, "How the heck is it HeroHei's fault?" And then this guy goes off and says, "HeroHei was pretty successful in tainting the well long ago. He literally made a Rule 34 sub for Ruby out of spite."
What?
That's not even true. It's a crazy thing to come up with.
When the hell did that happen?
It's even crazier. He says, "And the dude still does not shut the heck up about it when he should be taken to the back of a shed and slaughtered like a kosher pig." Bro, I think I've made 2 Ruby videos in like the last year. To say I barely talk about Ruby.
Does he
would be an
even talk about
understatement.
Ruby?
This
I
guy's
didn't even know there was
crazy.
anything to
And
talk
then
about
tags me
Ruby.
and says, "@HeroHei, there is a reason why that one fandom hates you. And and how many more fandoms and individuals see you as a neckbeard. You should have been kicked to the curb, but you are somehow still active on YouTube. Touch some grass." The lack of self-awareness, bro. And people don't even view me as a neckbeard. In actuality, it's like what this person said. Either view me as a femboy twink or a racist, bigot, xenophobic, homophobic, bigot, chud, whateverist. So yeah, that loser from a second ago really needs to get it right. It's not that complicated.
That's funny.
Anyways, I just thought that was kind of funny, especially given the timing.
Twink solidarity, chat. We stick together.
All
All
like
twinks
that
stick
right now.
together.
But now back to Jacob Takanashi, where he responded to that Kiba Walker person and condemned violence. Kiba Walker made this response to him that says, "I appreciate the repost and apology. However, like Little Karibo said, it would be very helpful if you made a post regarding the situation at hand for your fans to follow. Because no matter what we say or do, we're going to keep getting attacked and threatened unless you do something."
Or how about, and this is a very, very controversial take, how about just don't attack him? Why was that not the why is that the last option? Why wasn't that the first one? Just don't say anything to him. Don't just start berating him on Twitter in public for everyone to see. Like, you think we're gonna side with you when you do that? Brother, you're wrong.
The ball is
You're a
fully in
low-key
your court
trolling.
now, and I
Actually,
hope
you're
that this can
high-key
stop.
trolling.
But we just
You are
need
trolling on Twitter. You are trolling in public. You are trolling on main. And I don't know why you would do that, but you know what? There you are.
to know if you knew that the role was empty because of strike, or if you didn't know. Doesn't matter about location. Anyone can see that this is going on. This comment didn't go well for Kiba Walker, as
You're
people
so
responded saying things
cringe.
like, "Wow, to say the ball is quote-unquote in his court when 5 VAs or so sent their rabid fan bases to attack him is actually crazy. Foreigners aren't expected to strike for something their labor laws already protect them from." Kiba Walker responds saying, "No one sent fan bases to attack him. You
That's because none of you have fan bases. You know, and I'm not like pulling rank or anybody. I'm a small content creator, but that's why, because no one respects what you guys say. You see the ratio? Don't nobody care what you guys have to say. And this is your fault, by the way. You could have had everything. You could have been like Sayu, who stays at a drama, does his work, and, you know, he does speak up about, you know, the SAG after stuff. He speaks up about, you know, unions. If you wanted someone to be the face of the strike for union actors, I would pick Sayu out of everybody. He's very respectful. He is, you know, he plays hardball when he has to, but he's a great guy. He doesn't do none of this stuff, bro.
realize that's what y'all are doing, right? Like, read the text straight up. No one at all said, "Go attack him for doing this." Your community is sending death threats and talking about people's dead relatives. How is that equivalent? BFR. But Kiba gets ratioed. People say, "This is so embarrassing. You guys literally brought this upon yourselves for this exact behavior. He has no obligation to tell you his business. Those threats are disgusting plus wrong, but don't sit here on his post threatening him after he just offended you." Another saying, "Funny how you people aren't demanding the other VAs to tell people not to send hate when they start everything." Then we got Little Karibo again saying, "The fandom is in a frenzy, and no matter what any other voice actor says, they're getting shouted down. I don't think it's fair to put it all in Jacob's corner," he says with a question mark. But unfortunately right now, he is the only person the fandom is likely to listen to. And lastly, there's this comment that reads, "No one can control their fans, and in this case, most people for this VA aren't his fans particularly. They just dislike people dogpiling him."
That's
but here's
true.
where it gets
That's very
really
true.
crazy, and then seems to come to an abrupt end. This user Vexed says, "Reminder, none of these VAs know Jacob either, so why are they attacking him for taking the role? He didn't even know the strike was happening." This person responds and says, "You sure about that?" And then Kiba Walker says, "I know Jacob fairly well, actually, lol."
So you guys
but
know him
Jacob
and you still turn
Takanashi
on him?
responds to her and refutes that, saying, "No disrespect, but..."
Dude, imagine you say this like he can't see it. I bet you she said that because he wasn't responding to anything. So she probably thought he was going to let that slide. Apparently not.
But we've had a handful of conversations about contracts and licensing and stuff. I'm sure you're a nice enough person, but I don't think we know each other, quote unquote, fairly well. I don't mean that in a mean way, please don't take it that way, but we're basically strangers. Little Karibo and Kiba Walker both responding to Jacob there. Kiba saying, "I know you well enough to at least have some sort of knowledge of what's going on, and people are acting like we've never talked. So fairly was a bad term, that's my bad. I'm over here batting off people attacking everyone." And above that, we can see Little Karibo responding, saying, "Genuinely, if you're interested in clarifying anything, I honestly think it should be whether you knew about the strike or not."
For the love of God, Karibo, bro, he said he didn't know about it. What is wrong with you? Is the dementia setting? Okay, I shouldn't say that. You know what? I don't want to disrespect him. I have such a high respect for Little Karibo. I've been, like I said, I've been such a fan of him. A lot of my humor comes from a lot of, growing up on this Yu-Gi-Oh! On all these abridged series, by the way, a lot of them. But like, bro,
it would go a long
you're pissing me off. That's all I'm saying, brother. Knock it off.
way toward clearing things up and easing tensions for everyone, not your familiarity with a person who was dealing with death threats. This user Payel saying to Jacob, "Man, I feel really bad for you. I hope you're holding up well despite all of this." Finally, going back to this previous message that Little Karibo made, wherein Little Karibo had in part said, "With respect, tensions would decrease significantly if you recognized and spoke publicly on the fact that voice actors aren't quote-unquote bullying you." This user Winry responding, saying they are bullying him. They could have talked to him privately instead of making these mean public tweets, and showing a screenshot of this voice actor Jun Yoon, in a tweet where he says, "Say, are you Japanese or Japanese American? Able to portray a 20s male character? Can sing? Have an excellent home studio? I've got a couple of colleagues in mind, but I would like to know more voice actors. Except that one guy." Of course, this is just one example of many of the various disparaging remarks we have seen directed towards Jacob Takanashi over the last number of days, many of which I covered in my previous videos on this topic. And lastly, it seems like at some point after Kiba Walker's discussion with Jacob Takanashi, she put her entire account into protected mode. And I think that'll do it for today's update. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think about all that stuff in the comments.
Chat, this has been such a wild situation, and the worst part about it is seeing a lot of the voice actors that I really like come out of the woodwork and doing these things that there's just no excuse for it, bro. There's legitimately just no excuse for it. I know you guys are probably, and hey, I'm gonna cover this towards the end, chat. These are gonna be later in the afternoon posts. The early morning posts are still gonna be the stuff that I like to talk about, and this afternoon posts are probably gonna be videos like this. It's kind of cool uploading a lot more. I'm not gonna lie, I really like enjoying it. I love churning out content. But chat, we're gonna stay on this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Become a member, come like and subscribe, and I will catch you gamers in the next one. Bye.